Let's talk about Lost Records some more. I really like the visual character design, so that's what we're going to discuss today. I think that the difference comes down to their choice of charm points. Most games try to preserve how photogenic the characters are when they choose charm points. Good example, the first Life is Strange, we had Kate. She's supposed to be a religious outcast that's suffering. So what do? We give her a cross necklace. We give her a tightly buttoned up shirt. We give her her hair in a bun. We make sure her eyes and nose are a little bit red because she's been crying. But none of it is unphotogenic. She's still super cute. We got Max. She's supposed to be the nerdy outcast that everybody hates. So we make her thin, short, and we give her a bad haircut. Everybody knows that's what makes people unpopular, right? She's still super cute. If you see Kate and Max in a photo advertising the game, you're going to be like, look at that game full of super cuties. And that's kind of the point. That's what everybody does in their game. Nearly every game is full of super cute characters because you're supposed to be attracted to them when you see them in marketing materials. You're supposed to be like, yes, I want to hang out with those people. They look great. This is definitely true of all the Life is Strange games. There are ugly characters in Life is Strange games, but the main characters, no, they're super cute. But I think that that's a mistake, and The Lost Records clearly shows that there are other approaches that work at least as well, because these characters are incredibly vibrant and charismatic, even though they are not all photogenic. And I think we should discuss that, because it is really great. Obviously, there's us. We're Swan. We are not the standard Life is Strange main character because we are dumpy, covered in blemishes, and we have terrible posture. We also have really bad fashion taste, but that is not unique. Lots of Life is Strange characters have terrible fashion sense. The difference being that ours is intentional on the part of the designer. These are our mom buys our clothes, which are perfect for our character. But what you might not have noticed is this character is covered in belts and bags. None of the other girls have a belt, none of the other girls have a bag. We have lots of belt and lots of bag. This is because this is our character, and when we're introduced to the story, the point is our personal baggage, our shyness, us holding ourselves back, holding ourselves in, lashing ourselves down. So yeah, us having a big belt and a lot of bags is the perfect, emotional resonance with that idea. It works great. But it's worth noting that Swan might look, uncharismatic or unphotogenic from this angle, but none of the screenshots that you see of the game are going to be from that angle. They're all going to be from this angle. And to be frank, Swan looks fine. She's freckly, and she has some pimples and some rosacea, but she'll look great in most headshots. And I think that was on purpose. I think they knew that they wanted their characters to be still look mostly cute on camera, and so Swan looks great from the shoulders up. She looks like Max. So let's talk about a character where they went all out. My favorite design in the game, Nora. Nora is a fantastic design. She's probably my favorite design in any Life is Strange game, and she's way up there for games in general. They did not try and keep her photogenic, and despite that, she is amazingly charismatic, and if you look for fan art, you're most likely going to find fan art of Nora. She just looks incredibly fun without being photogenic. The first thing they did is they gave her these really aggressive pockmarks, or really aggressive acne all over her face, and this is like lovingly depicted acne. It looks awful. This is never a choice that a game would make, not unless the acne could be depicted as, a couple of pixels on a 20 pixel tall character or something. It's very rare for people to have skin conditions of this sort, skin conditions that look bad in photos. And normally it would relegate her to being a background character, the acne character. But it looks great for Nora, and it suits who she is. It hasn't been made clear in my videos yet, but Nora is a character whose main character trait is that she is being absolutely destroyed by puberty. Her hormones are completely out of control, and she can barely think at all through her raging hormones. And of course her acne is a great choice to represent that. Yes, she's drowning in hormones. Here's a whole bunch of acne to prove it. In addition to that, we see that she has given herself a hilariously awful haircut and done some weird stuff with her eyebrows. And I won't call her eyeshadow weird, but it is definitely aggressive. And that's also really charming. I think that that is her choice as to who she is today. I'm trying to figure out who I am, and this is who I am today, and if you don't like it, fuck you. You think it's ugly? Fuck you. That's what she's saying, right? And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful design. Yes, this is definitely more on the ugly, cute side rather than the photogenic side, and I think it works absolutely great. You get a real impression for who Nora is because so much of her appearance either reflects who she wants to be seen as or where she is in her life, or both. And they do that by not trying to make her too photogenic. Now, she's still pretty photogenic. She has a really photogenic mouth and chin line, for example. But for the most part, she's not as photogenic as you might expect from a main character in a video game. I really like her clothes in general. She wears print tees, for starters. Here's our Three Wolf Moon inspired t-shirt, just far enough away to not be copyrighted. She has tons of t-shirts, obviously, and all of them are worn out just the right amount to make them look like like she wears them a lot, and she's a real girl. She's the sort that actually wears her stuff. And you can see they've got holes all over. I think it's great. She wears these high-waisted jorts. I don't know what their technical name is. These did exist. I remember them quite clearly. They are awful. They're the worst thing that a girl could wear. Visually, they just look just absolutely awful. They are the perfect choice for her. A great choice. Notice that she's not wearing a belt. She also has a number of decorations on her pants. I don't know what these are. It could be that some of them are, logos from the pants manufacturers, but they look an awful lot more like someone signed her pants in some kind of silver paint. And this is never touched on or explained, but she must be decorating her own pants with silver paint for some reason, and I think it does help to make her pants look unique. Obviously, she has some stuff, damage to her knees, and little decorations here and there like band-aids. I noticed that they were careful to try and make sure that her socks did not end in a flat line. Notice that she has a wrist, or rather an anklet, that is the same color as her socks, specifically so that her socks to break up the edge of her sock and to make it look a little bit more wild. And obviously she has a choker. Her choker seems to be made by her. A lot of her stuff seems to be made by her, although she is constantly talked up as someone who loves buying fashion. Nearly everything she owns seems to be made by her. It feels an awful lot like whoever designed her outfit wasn't on the same team as whoever designed her character, because none of this says rich girl to me. I mean, a rich girl generally wouldn't make a leather strap and put little rings around it and then drop a little ribbon off of it and put rings around that. I mean, it's not something you buy in a store. That's got to be handmade, right? So same with her beat up old shirts and stuff like that. It really does feel like she doesn't dress very expensively for a girl who is supposed to be super expensively fashionable. Either way, this is an amazing character design, 100% approved by me, which is the most important thing. Oh yeah, she's covered in wrist gear. All of her wristlets are braided. Clearly, these are things that she made herself. I don't believe you would buy. I mean, you could buy the beaded stuff in a store, I suppose, but these are either made yourself or they're knickknacks. They're cheap shit. So again, this is not something that you'd buy from an expensive shop while shopping fashion with your mom, right? Now let's move on to Autumn. Autumn is mostly positive or neutral charm points. She's not as ugly cute as her friend, but she is overall a very gawky character. Now Nora is also gawky, but in Nora's case, she's so gawky from her bones up that you barely notice the fact that she's actually shaped gawky, right? Whereas with Autumn, she's shaped gawky, and you can tell pretty quick. She hasn't grown into her face and her body. And this is one thing that I think having old Autumn actually accomplishes. The one thing that old Autumn actually does as a favor in this game is she looks really, really good. So we can clearly see that that's how Autumn is supposed to look. She's supposed to look like old Autumn, which means that this gawky Autumn, this is not adult Autumn. If we didn't see adult Autumn, we might, think this is maybe just how characters are rendered. All the characters are rendered gawky, right? No. This is a gawky teenager. That's the point. Now, she is, other than that, mostly neutral or positive charm points. For example, she's got green hair. Very few people hold green hair against a girl, and the people who do aren't worth trying to impress. She has incredibly striking eyes, and these eyes are probably her central defining visual characteristic. I think that's on purpose. She has the most striking eyes of anybody in the game, and she spends a lot of her time watching her friends. She's the reliable character, and she's observant, and that's one of the things that happens a lot in this game. But although her eyes are very striking, she has a strange blemish in her right eye, and the more you notice it, you notice it, and then it grows, and you start to notice it more and more and more and more and more. And I think that's on purpose, just because they thought that she'd be too striking if her eyes were perfect. But, who knows? Maybe they just thought it would be a fun blemish, and I'm overthinking it. In my opinion, it works very well to contrast her very, very striking eyes. She doesn't have a very photogenic face aside from that, in my opinion, but that might just be because I normally see her animated, and her facial animations are just the worst. So, it might be the visual shape of her face is fine, and it's just badly animated. Who can say? She has these hair clips, that are very childish, and I think that was a great choice. They really sell the fact that this is still a kid. She hasn't grown out of her childish hair clips yet. And her gear, her clothes, are mostly skater girl stuff. They're mostly, what do you want to call it, tomboy chic. Now, tomboy chic does not mean masculine. I don't believe that anybody would consider ripped up tights to be masculine. I don't believe anybody would consider pink pumps to be masculine. But they are tomboy. And she has tomboy chic throughout this. She always dresses skater girl. She has the most effective clothes in terms of she's both the most fashionable and the most functional of her friends when it comes to clothing. Her fits are always great. We're not going to see too many of them, but her fits are always great. And I definitely think that of all of her friends, she is the only one that actually knows how things should look. Like, Nora knows how she wants to look, and Nora is bad at it. These two don't know anything about themselves and how they want to look. But I get the feeling that Autumn does know how she wants to look. And I think that's a very suitable trait for her. I think it works well. You notice that she has the same number of wrist elements, like literally 3 on each hand, exactly like her friend. But they're not entirely all handcrafted. Some of them appear to, well, they might also all be handcrafted. These girls just might be super into handcrafting their wristlets. These wristlets are really interesting because in scenes later, they glitch out and give her psychic powers. The devs did not intend for them to give her psychic powers. They just do because her physics engine is broken, which is very fun. I really think Autumn's design is fine. I have some minor quibbles about some things about it, but I think she looks great. I think it works for her character. I also think that she's very, very striking when she moves to tank tops because the girl has some biceps. This girl is ripped, and I didn't expect that. I was thinking, 15-year-old from 1995 in the middle of nowhere. I was not expecting to see someone who has such toned biceps, but it was fun to see. Lastly, for the main 4, we've got Cat. Cat is both the most important and least impressive character design. Her facial expression is a little bit goofy here, but I think you get the idea, right? Cat has very few, if any, negative photogenic traits. Almost all of her traits are positive, and there's a reason for this. Cat is the cause of everything that happens in this game. All the bad shit that happens, you can thank Cat. And we have to believe that Cat can do all of this stuff just by accident. Just because she had a random thought and everybody's like, oh yeah, we love Cat, let's go along with her dumbass idea. Over and over and over. So she has a lot of charisma in terms of how she acts, right? Her personality is extremely charismatic. She's aggressive and loyal and prickly in just the right way. Her voice actress is amazing. The expressions she can put on her face are very suited to the engine they have, whereas the other girls struggle. But her visual also has to be attractive enough in terms of, photogenic enough that we can buy that these three girls would be like, yeah, she's our cutie, she's our friend, we love her. I think it works okay. She's obviously a farm girl, by which I mean girl, not, a farm woman. She's very young, very small, and she's supposed to look childish because that makes you want to protect her. So that's the point, right? She has a terrible haircut, but this haircut exists mostly to contrast with what they do later when she gets a new haircut. But this haircut is just the worst. I mean, what is she doing? Why is she got that thing coming out of her side like that? That's just weird. Notice that she has no piercings in either ear. And obviously she doesn't have piercings anywhere else on her face. She's supposed to be someone who is very obviously tightly controlled by her parents. So she doesn't have any makeup on or anything like that. She's just incredibly, wholesome farm girl that's been isolated from the world and has grown up prickly despite that. She does have a tiny bit of acne, but it's just enough acne to make you think she might be a real person rather than a robot. And that's it for her negative character trait. Now, her garb, her outfit is one of my favorites. She's obviously being dressed by her parents like us, but unlike us, her parents are functional people. They run a farm, run a ranch, and they want her to help out on the ranch. So she's wearing overalls and boots and shirts with basic patterns on them that are just filthy. They've been worn to gray by now. It's just very clear that her parents dress her, and she works hard, or at least she works more than the average kid does. Even her socks are gray. That might be pinstripe blue, but whatever, right? Now, her boots are still very fun. I love these boots, but they are obviously working boots. They're not like show boots like these. The thing about her outfit that really works best is the two things that she chose for herself. This is really a brilliant choice on the designer's part. She has two things that she chose for herself, and they're both around her neck. These are the things that she has chosen to put her neck in. And I think that these both work very, very well. Now, obviously, we've got the headset because she's a music nerd. It's got a raven's head on the side. If you've never played the game before, you might be struggling to figure out what that icon is. Maybe you think, is that a bunny? No, it's a raven. It'll become very clear later. But I think the more fun thing is her choker. She's obviously chosen a choker because she wants to be rebellious. She's not the sort of girl that just wears a pendant. But the choker she chose is such a childish and innocent idea, right? It's a pink choker with pink flowers and a purple band. It's such a cute little choker, except the flowers have black hearts because she's so punk. I think that was a perfect, very cute choice. I think that really suits her just amazingly well. You might have a hard time telling because of the lighting, but her chokers those little flowers do have black hearts, and that's very cute. I think it's wonderful. Also, the circular pattern in the middle has relevance later, but I don't think anybody did that on purpose. I think it's just incidental. One thing about Kat that I like is she's the only other character that has luggage. Yeah, she's got something on her waist. It's her raven-flavored Discman. Now, this isn't really a bag per se, but it is something that she carries with her, and it does weigh her down, right? And I think that's a cute thing, because she's the only other person beside us that ever carries anything. And she's the only person besides us that has baggage. I mean, she's got the real baggage. Our baggage is mostly self-inflicted, but her baggage is very, very serious. And I don't think that was intentional. I don't think this is supposed to make us think that she's carrying around baggage, but it does work. I like it. I kind of wish she had more luggage. I kind of wish she had a fanny pack or something, but it works. It's very good. Overall, these four characters are very strong. Obviously, the strongest is Nora. She is amazing. A+, just absolutely phenomenal and brought to life absolutely perfectly by her voice actress, which is universal. All of our voice actresses in this game are great, except for Swan. When she says Jizo, nobody should ever say Jizo, and Swan's voice actress is included in that. But let's take a quick little peek at some other characters. Doop-a-doop-boo. We're just going to take a look at the two main baddies. I got to fast forward through some shit to get there. Give me just a moment. Oh, okay. I got to wait for them to finish talking, I guess. Alright, now let's try it. There we are. Whoosh. Here are the two main baddies. We got Corey right here, and we got Dylan right here. Now, Corey is very lovingly crafted. I think that they crafted him from some life references. The more you look at him, the more effort they clearly put into him. Now, we're looking at him at his worst because this is like him in a background character pose off in the distance. We're not supposed to be able to get here, so it's really pretty cruel of us to try and judge him like this. But I just wanted to mention the fact that he has a lot of characteristics to him that are supposed to make dumb teenage girls fall in love with him. That's literally the point of his character. He's the kid that nobody should actually fall in love with, but he's just hot enough that dumb teenage girl might, right? So he's got a scruff. He's got a blue earring. He's got some tattoos, but they're not too bad. He's got, wrist decorations that are made out of leather and rings. He's got eyes, which you can't see from this angle, but if you look in his eyes, they're blue and brown. They're speckled. The more you look at them, the deeper they seem. And he's wearing a real small necklace, which nobody in 1995 would do unless they were not looking for female companionship anyway. I think that they forgot what 1995 fashion looked like for guys. I don't believe any guy would have worn that necklace, but who knows? Maybe it was different in Missouri or wherever this was. This, however, is Dylan, the sister of Kat, and her design seems a little bit more unfinished than the rest. She's not a bad design by any means, but a lot of her stuff doesn't feel like quite as much effort was put into making her hit quite as hard as the other girls. And I think a big part of that just comes down to her animations. I'm sure that you've already seen my other videos. When she talks, her lip floats. And not even when she's talking. When she's just standing around, her upper lip floats up to her nose. And it's like something I've never seen before. And you can't really talk like that very well. I'm trying to talk like that right now. And it sounds funny. And nobody talks like that. I think what they were trying to do is give her a semi-permanent sneer, right? Her lip lifts and she's got a sneer. But if you try and keep your sneer on all the time, it starts to look more like you have a condition, like there's something wrong with your lip. Because people move their lips down so they touch each other at some point. They have to compress their lips together in order to talk. And Dylan doesn't. She uses her special psychic powers to keep her sneer on even when she's talking. And I think that has biased me against her design, which is a little unfortunate. I'm sure it's probably fine. Now, obviously, her basic idea is that she is the hot girl that has fallen in love with an idiot, with a bad person. And she's been corrupted a little bit, right? He's pushed his ideals onto her as to what she should look like and what she should be. And she's going along with it. So she's dressing slutty. She's acting slutty. It's not really something she wants to do. There's also a couple of details that you might not notice if you don't look. Have you seen it yet? Can you see it now? Yeah, a big part of this game is that Kat hates Corey, the guy. Kat hates Corey for a reason. Corey isn't just some dick. Corey is absolutely physically abusive. And that is something that normally doesn't get shown very clearly in her design, but if you look, you can see her bruises. And obviously, later on in the game, it becomes clear that Corey is absolutely happy to abuse anybody he can get his hands on. So that's a big part of this game, and it's part of what happens. And her design really does reflect that a little bit. She's got just enough going on that you can read into her personality and also her life situation. Now, obviously, both of these characters are super photogenic. They both look great, but neither of them show up very often in photos because they are secondary characters. So, whatever. They're supposed to look good because they're supposed to be the popular kids that we're not part of. And that makes a lot of sense. So keeping them photogenic really helps to separate them from us, the unphotogenic kids. Let's take a quick little peek at the girls in these fits. She's wearing her Void shirt, which glitches out in a fun way, and you can see her pockmarks a little bit more clearly. I can't get in, but she's got a pockmarked set of cheeks and freckles all over her face. So you can see that she's not super photogenic because her skin is in bad condition. She's 15. Now, I really hate this Void shirt. I understand why it's here. I understand what it does. I understand why it glitches out constantly for fun, but it is just such an awful fit. It's the only one of her clothes, her outfits I don't like. It's I wouldn't wish this shirt on anybody. And here's Nora, wearing the exact same thing she always wears, but a different, print shirt. I think she's even got the same anklet. Yeah, it's the exact same thing with just different texture on her shirt. And of course, we're wearing the same thing too. And Kat isn't here, so that's our tour. I hope you enjoyed this little talk about the visual character design of the characters in this game. Feel free to let me know what you think. See ya.